Alright, just wanting to make an update on the two 12 volt fridges I bought. You can see I bought one in January 2001 and one in August of 2001. Well, this one the sensor just started going out on it. This one went out about a year ago. I've used this a lot more than this one. And this is the one I took across the country on a trip. But this one, the sensor failed, I think, sometime last year. This one just started doing it where it would freeze. It's reading 50 volts when it's like 20 something in there. And it won't shut off unless I make it satisfy. So, both of these are just cheap 12 volt fridges. Both of them, the compressors still work. Both of them, everything else runs, it's just the temperature is wrong. I did order some things to try to fix it. These right here, they are a 12 volt temperature control. They come with a sensor, and you just wire the power into the box here somewhere, and it has a relay on that shuts it power on and off. So I ordered two of them so I can actually run them off of 12 volts. These were I don't remember how much they were. I want to say they're 12 something. Yeah, okay, so $12.69 plus a 5% off coupon right now on Amazon. So they'll be coming in soon. I'll install one and test it on a video. Right now I just have this fridge. It's running right now. Well, it's off right now, obviously. But I have this Inkbird controlling it, and it's reading 37 in there. It's set for 36. When it gets to 38, it'll turn power back on, and it maintains the temperature in there. So right now, this one is showing 50, right around 50 degrees up in this area. And I have this one down here, and it is showing around 42 degrees down here at the bottom. And right now I'm just using it for drinks. So you can see it's about 5 degrees off of that, but the sensor for this is along the back wall back there. So the wall's going to be colder than the middle of the box. I'll be back whenever I get the 12 volt things to actually test it. Alright, well, I'm making a wire for one of these. It just came in today. I have two of them. Here's the other one. They have spots back here to put the wires in. Of course, that's where the sensor goes. This is for cooling, that one's for heating. This is the power. And these are for 12 volts. So I'm using the I think it's Marinco was the brand. This, I tried using ring terminals, but the wires don't really want to work right in there with the ring terminals, so I'm going to have to solder them. Solder them on. So this one's negative with the dashes on it. One with writing on it is the positive. Do now is put this back together. Then I'm gonna plug it in and see if this works. I need to test both of them. That way if one isn't working out of the box, I can replace it. This is 18 gauge wire on here. See if I can. Don't know if I pick that up in the camera. Right there says 18 gauge. Alright, I have both of them on and running. One's being powered by this right now. According to the paper, it says these take 3 watts to operate. And of course, one's being ran by the blue ID over there. I just used an old one of these I had that was in my trailer, since I can't find that spring, and it works to power that one. Of course, I still have to find, I guess I can take the one that's in my trailer off my fuse block, and use that to power one of these from this. I'll have to try to find one of my AC ones. I can cut the DC cord off of it. But right now they are reading different temperatures, of course. Put them right next to each other. This one over here does seem to be a little bit off. Of course, it hasn't been powered on for very long, so it might need time to adjust or something. It is coming down. That one over there is coming up a bit. Of course, that's just the room temperature. But they both work out of the box, so that's good. I'm gonna get only one of them came with instructions, so I'm gonna get that and try to set these, and then I'm going to put the sensor inside this fridge and make sure it's accurate. If I can figure out how to change that to Fahrenheit, I will. Otherwise, I have to keep it in Celsius. Alright, I looked up a chart, and 36 is in between 2 and 3 degrees Celsius. So I'm going to set it to 2.5 degrees, and that should be close enough to get me where I want. And there is no way to change these to Fahrenheit, so it's Celsius only. Not a big deal to me, but it might be a big deal to you. But they do seem to work so far. I did set the time delay on this. Right here are the setting parameters it has. So you have a temperature set value up there. It goes all the way down to -50 to 99 Celsius. It goes, different set value is 0.3 to 10. You have a time delay. Default is 3 minutes. I set that to 0 on both. Temperature calibration is right now at 0 default. So like even the different set value, the default is 0.5. And of course the default it comes in is 10 degrees, which according to this chart is about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. That's way too high for, you know, an actual refrigerator. I know, at least in America, we want it between 36 and 42 degrees, which is right between 2 and 6 degrees Celsius. I got the sensors within an inch of each other inside the fridge, near the top and the back. And this one's been in there slightly longer, but for some reason it's slower coming down. but they're within 0.3 degrees of each other, which isn't bad at all. Seeing that they can be 1 degree off anyway. But this one is getting down lower. They seem to be staying right about 0.3 degrees, but I'll keep it going like that. Mostly just making sure the temperature sensors are accurate. I do have it set for 38 degrees, and it's saying it's 38 degrees in there. The sensor for this one here, I actually put to the bottom of the fridge and taped it to the bottom, so now it's actually reading more accurate to what my temperature sensor, refrigerator temperature sensors in there are. I did go ahead and set these to 3 in order to check what it sets. You press up, and of course that's the current temperature. So because I have this at 38, 3 degrees is slightly below 38. And of course, to change the temperature on these, you have to basically do that, and then you hold the S and press up and down on it to change the temperature. But you kind of have to hold them at the same time. And of course, you can turn it off just by hitting the power button. I think you have to hold it for a couple of seconds to turn it off, and it just press it once to turn it back on. Okay, we're now within, they're about 2.5 degrees off, I would say. Not sure why, but, or not 2.5 degrees, but 0.25 degrees Celsius off. Alright, they're both reading the same temperature now. It does say it's 39.2 degrees inside there. And 43 is going to be right around 39 degrees. So, yeah, 4.3 should be a little bit higher than 39 because 4 is 39.2. But yeah, close enough. They are at the top of the fridge and not the bottom. So it's going to be warmer up at the top anyway. Alright, this works. You do have to wire it differently than I was thinking you would have to, but it is powering this now. I cut one of these plugs off of the AC adapter. I still have this AC adapter here, but this cut came off one of my extra ones that I got with one of the fridges. And as you can see, it's wired there. Comes up here. And this is how you have to wire it. This is DC in here. You can see, if you can chase that wire, it goes over to this, the switch here. Then that's where the wire for the plug goes down. And that's your positive wire. Your negative wire comes straight from the plug there into here. And then of course the straight power to the car charger. And this actually turns it on and off based on temperature. Right now I have it set to 2 degrees Celsius to make it run. You get to hold that down, hold it again, and now it's set to 2.5 degrees, and this shut off. Of course it's saying it's 2.4 in there right now. And of course set point 2.5. But it does work. You do have to wire it weird. Like I said, the positive has to go. You have to get positive 12 volts somewhere. So I got it from splicing this wire and bringing a jumper over to here, so it goes through this switch and then provides it to that plug. The negative, I just spliced it into this directly to the plug, so the fridge itself has a positive and negative, and all this is a shut off positive to the unit. So pretty easy to do, just had to figure it out. I thought that, you know, this would bring in voltage and then put out voltage, but if you follow this diagram, you get to see this is just a closed contact loop. Same with the heat side. This does have a heating and a cooling, so if you need something with a heater or to keep a certain temperature, you can use this for it. But I'm not going to use the heating side. Right now it says it's in heat because it's set for 3 degrees. And I can show you 3 degrees, it's reading 2.3 inside. And of course when it gets low enough it should switch to cool. I'm about to check. Alright, let's show you without the negatives on here how these are wired to work. So basically I did take a jumper from to this side of the relay to positive going into the thing. Just spliced it with a wire nut. If I had the Wago things, I'd probably just use those instead, but wire nut works. And of course this is the positive going in, so this provides power to this relay, and then you bring the positive wire to the plug that goes to the fridge into this point right there, and then your negative just has to splice into your negative somewhere. So the easy way is just cut this again, splice it right there. That way it's close to your fridge. But just so it's easier to understand, you get the jumper 12 volts into this, to the cooling relay. If you want the heat to work, you also have to do it to that. But I'm only using it just for cooling. And then the positive of the plug comes here, that goes to the fridge. The negative just gets spliced into the negative. I would put them in here, but these things aren't big enough to hold a lot of wire, so you can't really just jump them in there. But that'll work. And this is of course the cord to this part. I'm gonna have to get my other fridge plug that's in my trailer. That's the only spare one I have, unless I want to, you know, destroy the only other AC power brick I have for this. And then wire that one to this one. I'll probably do that tomorrow. That way I can test this one and make sure it works properly. So far they all seem to work, and you can hear the relay open and close on this. It's a slight click noise. Go ahead. It's off right now. It's 1.8 degrees Celsius in there. I moved that sensor down to the bottom, or near the bottom. That's saying it's 39 degrees down in there. So, but I just, for now, I just put some cable ties around here to the handle. That way it's close by here, because this plug cord is too short. It just reaches the top of this. So I would need to get an extra plug. I don't want to destroy my ice cool one. So if I get any more, I'll probably buy some cheap ones off of line and just use them to cut and make longer ones that will actually reach like up into here. Then I could put this like on the lid. But right now, this will do for now. And I wouldn't mind just, you know, taping it, double siding tape it to the side here. That way it's on the side. Doesn't really matter. That one I just have still plugged into the power source. It's not doing anything anymore because I have that one unplugged. That's where this plug comes from, which is right from this AC power adapter. So these do work. You just have to wire them properly. And like I said, you have to jumper positive to this relay. This relay opens and closes, so you just wire the plug straight to that. Then you have to have the jump the negative, or splice the negative into this negative, and it works just fine. The sensor, I might have to try to tape to the bottom. I have to find that tape I used before and I might get a little bit better of a temperature reading. The heat thing will not work. That means the heat relay is closed. When the light switches back to this, it means it's back to cooling. And I have it set to 2.5 degrees. Hold that down. That is set for half a degree. So when it reaches 3 degrees, it should turn on the cool mode and bring it back down to 2.5. It might go down to 2, and then kick it back on. Alright, this has been running since last night sometime. It is now 3:08 today. So far as keeping it between 41 point something to about 30, I want to say 38. Don't remember what 2.5 Celsius is anymore. Well, that's around 38. But it's obviously 2.7 degrees inside. And it's set for 2.5. Of course, it's off right now. This is showing about 41-ish. And this compartment is about 47. I went and got my other plug from my trailer. So I got that wired into this one. It's much longer than the other one. See, the temperature's dropping, but I just put the sensor in there, and this is already turned on. This one, because the cord is so much longer, I can actually put it up here. Just shut off. That's saying right at 40 degrees. Turn it down to 2 degrees Celsius. Alright. Well, this one, second one also works. It's maintaining a decent temperature in the fridge. I do have it changed the setting a bit today. I now have it set to 1.8 with a 2 degree differential. So now it'll go up to 3.8 before it comes back on. It's on right now, and at 3.8 it's about 40.8 degrees inside. And so far it's keeping it somewhere between 38 and 41 degrees. So this thing definitely works. We'll see how long it lasts, but these do work.